This week we have a רפואה שלמה לאורי בן פלורה, דניאל חיים בן כרמית, הרב אמר, תינוקת בת שרה. Anything else? אלול נשמת, שולמית בת מסעוד החווה, משה בן מסעוד החווה, ואבישי בן אורי. בן אורן. אבשלום בן סוניה וסוניה נערה.
וכל עם ישראל.
No, we're not gonna, not this one, Rabbeinu. This is the second time you do it. The second time we caught you on this one, Tomer. Chazak u'baruch, באמת. Second time we caught you this one.
I'll keep saying it.
I'm proud of you, באמת. Okay, we're gonna start. As you know, this week's parasha, Parashat Nitzavim, it's one of the final chapters before we reach the conclusion of the last book of the Torah, Devarim, right? Which is the last book of the 5 books of the Torah, which we know that famously Chazal, the rabbis, the sages, call this book Mishnah Torah, right? It's a Torah in which Moshe Rabbeinu, he has a narrative over here, as opposed to in the past where it's God speaking, and now it's Moshe speaking to the nation. He's holding the narrative. And over here he recounts all the things you already learned in the past, meaning laws that we learned. He adds some extra laws, and he continues to rebuke the nation. Tell them, rebuke what they did, what they fell in the past, how they fell, why they shouldn't fall again, and to warn them they shouldn't fall again. And to plead with them, most importantly, the whole underlying theme of this week, the last book of the Torah, is to go in the ways of Hashem, as much as possible. Now, it's interesting, because there's a question on this. We know that God tells Moshe, that's it, you reach the end of your life, you're not going into Eretz Israel, right? A couple of weeks ago, Hashem told him, you're not going into Eretz Israel, right? You're not going in. And you finish your job. You finish your job in this world, right? You have a little bit more time to live, and then eventually I'm going to take you, and that's it. And what does Moshe Rabbeinu choose to do in the last little bit of time he has? To rebuke the nation. To tell them, go in Hashem's ways. Now it's a question on this. Why? I imagine, not us, not anyone in the Am Yisrael, that the doctor comes and tells the guy, now you have only a couple days left to live, or a week to live. What's the guy going to do? He's booking trips to Barcelona, he's going to Spain, going to Bora Bora, maxing out the CC. You know why? Because when the bill comes, he won't be here anymore. Right? What is the person going to do? He hears that's it, it's the end of his life. He's going to go spend as much as he can. Going to go live and get that. Moshe Rabbeinu, it's the end of your life. What is he going to do? Your job is done. What am I going to do? I'm going to take this time now to go and rebuke the nation. Tell them to go in Hashem's ways. That's the way you want to utilize your last time. Your job is done. You don't have anyone to do. Why are you continuing? It's a question. Another question on that. Now today in our days, the rabbis, why are they so strict on bringing people back? This whole Kiruv movement of bringing people closer, this whole movement of bringing people closer, why does it exist? Let me ask you a question. I'm up here giving you guys this class, right? When I leave this class, because I gave this class, did my house get bigger?
Nope.
My car is nicer?
Nope.
I have more money in my pocket?
Nope.
Maybe less.
Okay,
so you're true. It's right. It's true. It's true. I get the commission check. We spoke about it in the past. You're right. It's a commission check. But in this world, nothing changes really, right? And Moshe Rabbeinu, even if you want to say that, Hashem told him your job is done. You're already going to the Mabah. You're finished. You're done. You did already what you need to do. That's it. Go to the next world. And he still chooses to go. Now it's not even about the commission check. Now he's doing it for another reason. Why? What's the reason? Says, I'll tell you. Says because I love this nation. I love this nation more than anything on the whole entire world. Right? And because of that, on my last breath, what I want to do, I want to guide you in the right direction. When a person comes and tells you something, right? And I always like to give this example. When a person comes to tell you something, to do something in your life, does he have anything to gain from it? We should already know. Right? When I went to the doctor's office 3 years ago and I was 200 pounds, the doctor looked at me, put me on a scale. I was 200 pounds. He looked at me, told me, listen, you're fat. That's his words. A very blunt doctor. I left him after this. But Baruch Hashem, he told me. It's the truth. He came to me, told me, listen, you're fat. He showed me a spectrum. He put me on a thing. I was in the red. He said, you put me all the way in the red. I said, maybe orange. Why are you all the way to the red now? He saw like you're 30 pounds overweight. I said, oh my God. I come over here. I told him, listen, what do you want from me? Listen, the pizza, the french fries, the chicken fingers, going out to restaurants, the wrap, all the delicious food, mozzarella sticks, the pizza. Who can pass up on these things? He goes, listen, do whatever you want. I don't care one way or another. You want to go eat? Go eat. I'm just telling you, you're fat. Right? Does the doctor gain anything from it? No, he's telling you because he cares about you. He wants you to go and lose the weight because he doesn't want some sickness to happen to you. Come Moshe Rabbeinu comes to the nation and tells to them, regardless of me, nothing to do with me. I care about you as a nation. I'm already done. I'm going to Lamava. I'm already finished my avodah. I'm going to the next world. I already know what it is. But I'm telling you because I love you. You know why? Because the same reason I'm up here today. Not that I'm comparing myself to Moshe Rabbeinu, but the same reason I'm up here today. Moshe Rabbeinu says, to live a life where you makir Hashem, to know Hashem, to meet God, and to feel His love, His embrace, and His guidance, to have a life without that, it's not a life at all. It says to have a life where you're alone. Imagine now a soldier in the field, right? You were a soldier. Imagine now we put you on enemy territory. We put you in enemy territory by yourself. Parachuter, you fly out the plane, you come by yourself. You with a thing, AK-47. How are you walking over there? You're walking like this, you're crawling, trying to find any hole to get into because you're scared by yourself. You have no one to help you. But imagine now you go with the whole fleet. You're going with all the guys, all the boys, the tank behind you and the car and everything. You don't feel alone. Guess what? You're running in there, guns blazing. You're not playing games, right? As we say in Brooklyn, so pop off. You know? Huh? You're running there, guns blazing. Why? Because you don't feel like I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Come to Shuir Rabbeinu and says, a person who doesn't know Hashem, he doesn't meet Hashem, doesn't go in His ways, he's a soldier, goes alone, lives his life. You want to feel like I have Hashem with me. I have the creator of the world. It's like you don't have that. You don't have a life at all. It's not a life. It's not a real life. I tell you this also for me. Also for me. I tell you how I wrote this class. I told Michael earlier today. I was walking 3 weeks ago, listening to some songs. You know, now it's Selichot time. And one song, Bemet, you know some of these songs, they open up your lev. Right? They open up your heart. And all of a sudden, I just found myself in a trance, and I'm thinking about Hashem. And the thought came into my head, and I just started writing this class. Boom, boom, I'm writing the whole class as I'm walking. I'm walking and I'm writing, I'm walking and I'm writing, I'm walking and I'm writing. I wrote a whole shit on my phone. Why? Because that feeling. I said, I have to tell them. I have to tell them. I remember I told you guys a story of how I put a kippah on myself. Right? That day I was praying, that morning I was praying Amidah, and I had a test, and I felt like I couldn't pass no matter what I did. I studied as hard as I could, and the information wasn't holding, it wasn't sticking. And I was praying that morning, and I felt the chibuk, I felt the hug from Hashem, I felt the warm embrace. I said, this love over here is not love you can explain. You have an Abba in Shamayim, you have a God in the heavens who loves you more than anything in the whole entire world. More than you can ever imagine loving anything. You have a child, you have a son, you love him more than anything in the whole entire world. Hashem loves you 1,000,000 times more than that. And He'll do whatever is good for you every time He'll do what's good for you. To live a life without going and understanding who Hashem is, it's not a life at all. It's not worth it. As we see, famously, Albert Einstein, at the end of his life, he said, I concluded, after everything I've learned, there must be a God in the world. Socrates, a famous philosopher, who was known his whole life to be apikoros. His whole life, neged Hashem, everything against Hashem. At the end of his life, he said, after all my research, also I concluded there must be a God. Bilam, which is the greatest prophet of the non-Jewish nation, the sages teach us that he was on the same level as Moshe Rabbeinu. In the Tumah, imagine like a person in the spaces of the most impurity, same level as Moshe Rabbeinu in the Kedusha, in the holiness. Same exact level, but in that side. Same exact level. What did he say at the end of his life? I wish I had the schut to merit to die like a Jew. Why? To live life, to be Makir Hashem. To know that there's a God in the world and He's watching over you. You know, to be born a Jew is a matana. To be born a Jew, to know that Hashem is in your life, to be that instilled in you, to meet Hashem. People ask me, oh, why are you religious? Bemet, right? You ever meet those people? Right, today I had some guy walk up to me in Kollel. I'm downstairs, I'm making myself a coffee. One guy comes up to me, he's like, in 30 seconds, give me the whole pitch. What's going on? How'd you become religious? Like that, he comes up to me. I said, whoa, 30 seconds, huh? What do you think? I'm like, okay. I talk fast, not a problem. I told him, you know what it is? I just met Hashem. I met Him, and then I fell in love with Him, and then I couldn't help myself but go in His ways. I couldn't help it. I had to go. I had to be in His ways. I had to. I couldn't live a life. Now I started to notice Hashem in my life. I started to be more alert. I started seeing things in my life that I couldn't describe them. I couldn't explain to you what was going on. How it happened, the guidance that I had that was from God, that was just guiding me in my life, that I pray for every day. Hashem guide me, and He does things. Sometimes even myself, I'm like, what? Where did this even come from? How did this even work out that Hashem just guide you like this? To live a life where you don't have that, it's not a real life. To be alone, to go alone in the world when you have nothing, it's not a real life. Lavdil me'avdalot, to make it differentiate 100 times. Imagine now a person who has no friends. What kind of life does he have? Right? What kind of life does he have? There's no friends, no one to hang out with. He's stuck all day, nothing to do. Nothing. But when you have friends, when you have sfiyah, when you have people with you, how much greater is the experience? Wow, you go and enjoy. Right? All of us, we want to go do something. Let's say today I had to go buy a suit. Right? Did I go buy a suit? No, first I went through my phone book. I called every friend I possibly could think of to see who's going to come with me because I'm going to go by myself to buy a suit. Chas v'shalom. I'm going to go alone. I have to call everyone I know. Everyone in the phone book. You're coming, you're coming. You're coming, you're coming. Finally, I called Baruch. I told him, just bring the suit to me. And like that. But what? Being alone? Who wants it? Come Moshe Rabbeinu and says, you know why I'm spending the last minutes of my life, last seconds of my life? To tell you that this is what it is. This is it. This is it. I found it. I found what's the essence of life. What's the point of life? To meet Hashem. To meet Him, to love Him, to see His guidance in your life. I heard a famous story. Rabbi Ton, the rabbi of this shul, our rabbi, said this story over. He once went to Asher Brachot, one of the famous families, I'm not saying names, in the Syrian community. And this is one of the grandsons of one of the big Baal over there who was a big Baal Torem. Like one of the guys over there who was a big guy who gave all the time lots of money. He was very, very wealthy and he was known to give to every organization. Everyone who came to him, yeshivot, schools, organizations, everything you could possibly imagine. For you, like Oprah Winfrey. For you, Bemet, Lavdil, Bemet. He would give everybody, everyone who come to him, he would give. In his whole life, right? As we know, why? We see he was Zochet to be more the Shir. Very, very wealthy. Why? Because Hashem wants to see, you have that ability to give, then I want to give you even more. Because I see you giving my people, I'm giving my children, you're giving for the right causes. We know that Maaser, the sages tell us, Maaser is the only thing you can test Hashem. Test Hashem on is Maaser. Is giving 10% is the only thing you can test God on. You can give 10% and Hashem guarantees. Says, test me, give 10%, but it has to be exact. It has to be to the penny. It has to be to the penny. Cannot be around. People, when they tell you, how much? I give you a guesstimation. You have to know exactly the amount. Right? You know people guesstimation? Like that one? It's not today I made it up. No. Well, guess, right? They come, you know what, maybe 20, maybe 21. Maybe. Hashem says, you want the Rachav Maaser? Give exactly what you need to give. That's to be rich. Comes a Chazal and teaches us, you want to be extremely wealthy? You have to give tzedakah. What's the difference? Most people, they think Maaser is tzedakah. They think, I give Maaser as tzedakah. When I give my 10%, that's charity. Hashem says, no. You know what Maaser is? Hashem says, you want me to be a partner in your business? You want me to be a partner in everything you do? My cut is 10%. Don't ask questions. That's my cut. You want me to be a partner in your business? 10% you got to give to me. Don't ask me. I tell you 10%, go give it to some type of causes. Don't worry. Imagine you have a guy comes in now, ultra wealthy. You know what I'm talking about. Ultra wealthy guy says, come in a piece on that. Ultra wealthy says, I want to get in one of those deals. He said, but what? One thing, 10% I want for myself. Now this guy is shocked, head on, so you know that whatever you're going to do with him is going to be successful. Right? So you tell him, no problem. You want even 30? I'll give you 30. No, I want 10%, but I don't want you to give it to me. I want you to give it to charity. Okay, no problem. Whatever you want, as long as you come as partners of business. Hashem says, you want me to be a partner? 10%. That's what you need to give in order for me to be partner in your business. That's what you have blessing from that. But you want to be, you give Maaser tzedakah. You give to charity. But is it tzedakah? No. Maaser and tzedakah are two different things. You give it to aniyim. Yeah, we're going to talk about the pratim. Aval tzedakah, the essence of tzedakah, what is the word tzedakah? It's ma'al maaser. It's above. When you give over the 10%. When you give over the 10%, now you're getting into the gather of tzedakah. Now the sages tell us when a person gives tzedakah, money that he's not necessarily obligated to give, right? 10% in a sense you're obligated to give, right? You're obligated to give it. But when you're above the 10%, you're not obligated to give it anymore. They say when you give it to a point where it's a little bit uncomfortable for you, it's a little bit hard, Shem says that's the skula to be extremely wealthy. To be extremely, extremely wealthy. You want to be? Give it 10%, that's you're going to have that shul to be wealthy. You want to be extremely wealthy? Now go give tzedakah. But not just tzedakah. It's a kind of uncomfortable manner. Not just the guy walks into the shul, the guys, the guys that come in, $1. No. Go and give what makes you uncomfortable. Meaning to say, it's a nice amount. You have organizations. But you also have to be very, very careful where you give your money. Right? It's like an investment. If I told you now you have to go invest into a stock or something like that, you're going to go invest into a business. Right? Are you just going to come in with me blind? You see someone looks nice, looks pretty with a nice suit, tells you come invest in my business. You could tell me, I trust you. You look like a trustworthy guy and give him the money. No, you're going to go to the business, you're going to look, you want to see the numbers, you want to see everything, you want to do investigation, right? Same thing with Maaser, same thing with tzedakah. You want to investigate where you're giving your money to make sure that over there you're really going to get the skula. Because if you give it to the wrong place, right, they're using it for something else, then you don't have that same.
Still did your part.
Doesn't make a difference. You don't get it. You get the schut from Maaser, but you don't get the bracha of Hashirut. You don't get the bracha of Hashirut. If you give 10%, you don't give it to the places. If 2% of that went to Dvarim Batalim, things that are stam, nonsense, whatever it was, you gave it to the wrong places or the wrong organization and they used it for whatever, then you don't have 10%. You cannot have that promise of wealthiness. You can't. You have to be very, very makpid where you give your money. You cannot just throw around whatever comes your way. Check, do hakirut. Why do you think the guys who come to you with collecting money, they always come with a certificate? Why do they come with a certificate? They have to get signed off. They have to go to organization, show that they're real cause, what they're saying is true. They come with the story. You have to be real, not stam, I come and tell you a story. They come with the chatimot. To show you, look, you see this? This is showing you that you have a chatimut, the rabbanan, from the rabbis, that you can give me money and still have this gula vashirut. And if you're asking me for my opinion, Nudati, in my humble opinion, the best place you can give your money is to Talmidei Chachamim. The person who's a Talmid Chacham, a guy who's sitting down learning, like in Eretz Yisrael, where they really, over there they get $500 a month. They say the people who are closer to your family, that's right in the beginning, your shul, your bekes, your city. But if you're asking me, if you want the real sgula, you know vadai, b'shum safek, give Talmid Chacham. You have no doubt whatsoever, you give it to him. Why? Because Hashem provides for them. Don't get me wrong. Hashem provides for them. However, when you give them your ma'asrot, if you're helping them live now, yeshuv that, they live more relaxed. Guess what? Their learning is now more relaxed, and you get a schut in that. Exactly. Bidjuk. Exactly. He's a chal v'zuvalun, right? I have a guy who takes care of me, and that's enough from that. We have another schut. Comes in this story, going back to that guy that we said, or the Syrian guy. This guy was known for this. He would give a lot of money to yeshivot, to kolelim, to the Talmidei Chachamim. Exactly this. And all his life, the rabbi told him that your reward is just as great. The Chachamim say this. Chazal said a person who takes a person with a Talmid Chacham, puts him and sits him down to learn, and pays for all of his expenses, he gets the same reward as him. Whatever he gets for sitting down and learning, you get the same reward from him. Same exact reward. No difference.
Doesn't he have to have it in mind?
Yeah, of course he has it in mind. He knows money's coming in. He doesn't know money didn't come from nowhere.
Have you in mind?
It doesn't have to have necessarily you. It has to be the person who gave the money. Right? It has to have the person who gave the money in mind. I'm sharing this gula with the person who gave the money. Right? Now, listen to this. There comes this Syrian man. At the end of his life, on his deathbed, his grandson, at his Sheva Brachot, testified to this. At the end of his life, the last words he said, while people were saviv his bed, all his grandchildren and his children, he said, the rabbis liked us. Everyone's face turned wide, the eyes opened up. This guy was a big tzaddik. Every day, 3 tefillot in the shuls, kolelim, he would shurim in the night, shurim in the morning. The rabbis liked us. The family, all eyes turned white, eyes opened up. He said, what do you mean? He said, you realize everyone got panic? He says, don't worry, I'll explain. He says, what? He says, you know when the rabbis told us that when we give the people who are sitting down and learning, we get the same reward? It's true, but to a certain extent. They told us that when we give it to them, we get the reward, right, in Olam Haba. We get the same reward as Olam Haba. But what they didn't tell us, what they lied to us about, is while we both get Olam Haba, they get Olam Hazeh. They get Olam Hazeh. What does that mean? While we go out and we make money, we bust our chops to make the money, and we work like dogs to keep the money, and work hard all day in the city from 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, building this place, that place, everywhere, running around like a chicken without a head. And they're sitting down, sitting down on a sugya, and the Beit Midrash. There's nothing greater than that. To sit down and open your head on a sefer and to break your mind a little bit and catch you know what a good feeling it is when you're having trouble with something and all of a sudden you have that aha moment, like, oh, I just figured it out. Wow, what a ta'anuk. He says, while we our whole lives work like dogs, we may have been Zochir Olam Haba, but they were Zochir Olam Hazeh, greater than we ever could have been. Greater than we ever could have been. You know why? He says, you know why? Because maybe as a businessman, you're Zochir throughout the week to see Hashem's in your life a few times. But that you're going to see Him. But to be a Talmid Chacham, to be sit down, you're surrounded by Hashem all day. All day you feel His embrace. All day you feel His love. He said that love, that embrace, that being around the Shekhinah, being around the presence of God, so there's no greater feeling in the whole entire world. So while we may merit to it a few times a day, they merit to it their whole entire lives. Their whole entire lives. Their Olam Hazeh is greater than ours. You believe it? This is a real story. Sheva Brachot. This grandson said it. And he said, when I heard my grandfather say this story, he said, I wasn't learning Torah at the time. I started learning Gemara. I wasn't learning. I started learning Gemara, and he testified Sheva Brachot. And I can tell you that what my grandfather said was true. My whole life I was also a Baal Torah. But until I started learning myself, I didn't know what the sweetness of the metikut of the Torah, the sweetness of the Torah, I didn't know. Now that I started learning Gemara, now I can tell you that what he said was true. That to sit down and do this is the real sweetness. To know Hashem, to be Makir Hashem, to go in the ways of Hashem, wow. That's what real happiness is. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu is coming and telling you. Now I want to finish up with this story. I'll make it too long. I'm going to finish up right over here with this story. I heard this week. There was a woman, Lo aleinu v'lo al af echad. Not on us, not anyone in Israel, who had a baby boy. Now obviously, her and her husband, first kid, they had trouble getting, pregnant. They went to the Rabbanim, they got skulot, and everything they possibly could. Finally, they had a baby boy. Lo aleinu v'lo al af echad. Bemet. I don't wish this on anybody. After a few days, the baby came down with a chom. Came down with a fever. They didn't know what to do. They called the tzala came. They couldn't get the fever down. They took the baby to the hospital. And after a few days, the doctor says, listen, we can't do anything. We have to put him on the machines, respirators, oxygen, everything. After a week passes by, the mom is sitting over there every single day. Every single day crying. This is a real story from one of the Rabbanim who testifies in the story. He says his daughter was in the bed adjacent to this woman and her son. So you know how you have the bed, you have the bet cholim, you have the drape, and you have one patient, another patient. So this rabbi says, I see this woman, nothing to do with tzniut bichlal. She came over there wearing nothing bichlal tzniut. Came over there looking like a secular woman. Be'emet. And she's crying. After about a week, the doctors come and tell her, listen, we don't know how to say this, it's very hard to say. But clinically speaking, the son is not with us. And we have a procedure in the hospital, 48 hours from today, from right now. If no response, we have to let him go. The mom hears, let him go. She starts going crazy, screaming. And the whole bat cholim, everyone, the rabbi is in the room with the daughter, comes running out, he hears the ruckus, what's going on? Her friend is holding her bag, she's going crazy, she's screaming. Everyone follows her. Finally, she gets up and she starts walking towards the door and she goes outside. And she walks outside and she's sitting over there and thousands of people, hundreds of people are surrounding her. And she just looks up to Shamayim. She says, Abba! My husband left me. Just when this baby was born, he left me for a goya. This is my son. You gave him to me. You can't take him from me. Abba! She's crying, and the rabbi says it was as if it was just her and Hashem. You know why? She remembered, I'm not alone. This pain, I don't have to go through it alone. If I tell you guys, you see it on me, how much I love Hashem. I have the blessing to be here today, and today's a big day. Because today, and this is coming from a small kid who came from nothing. I'm up here and I'm speaking in front of you guys, and Baruch Hashem, you guys are here. And before this, we organized the girls' class. Baruch Hashem, that's going to keep on going. That's all Yishot Hashem. We're all here from undeserved mercy of Hashem. We have Abba and Shamayim. This is the time now to come up to him and say, Abba, we love you, we miss you, we want to know you. Show us, give us the merit to be Makir Otcha, to know you. Hashem, this Rosh Hashanah will all be written in a beautiful, healthy, happy New Year.